So welcome everybody. It's Tuesday. We're in November. It snuck up on us pretty quickly. And we just came out of a huge Diwali retreat weekend, not just a retreat weekend, but a really huge celebration on the ashram. So Mother Kashi is still exhaling in a good way. So let's take a moment to get centered. I found some beautiful words from Ma, and it's always lovely to tune into the Mother Shakti first. So wherever you are, find a comfortable seat or a comfortable space. Soft breath in and a gentle breath out. And just settling into this moment as we connect heart to heart to heart again. Here's some words from Ma on space and the quiet. The quiet space is much more than absence of sound. The quiet space is much more than just the absence of sound. There are levels and levels of the quiet space. Your soul calls for the quiet so you can hear it, so you can hear your soul. Your soul calls for stillness so that you can feel your soul. Your soul calls for your attention so that you can be it. The soul never ever dies. It is that which always was, that which is, and that which will be. Love, Ma. And so for some of you, perhaps it's been a busy day, a busy week, or a busy time, and connecting with Ma's words on deep silence, deep quiet, and listening to the different levels of the quiet is particularly applicable to the Kali Natha Yogi, because as we do our practices, as we go deeper into our own sadhana, we are able to experience awareness. You can hear on different levels, and hearing might be having a flash of intuition. So when I say hearing, it's not necessarily just with the inner ear. And so we are always, as Ma once said, always receiving certain instructions. We just completed our Diwali retreat here on the ashram, and the yoga retreat component was very deep. And there was a moment where we were talking about how Ma had always expressed that Kali Natha Yoga opens you to feel. And so pointing out what feels right in the moment. I had been talking with someone on the weekend about Ma's particular expression. When you aren't where you're supposed to be, you are where you're not supposed to be. And this actually directly relates to being open to feel, because you, as the attuned yogi or yogini, you get to sense very clearly and very quickly what feels right. And so if you're in tune to your own self and your own soul, and you know what feels right, then fairly quickly you can attune to what feels like a space where you're not supposed to be. And this doesn't just mean a physical space. It can mean keeping company with people and realizing it doesn't feel correct for me anymore. It could be keeping a job or continuing a certain task. It doesn't matter. It can be small and mundane. But to have the grace of recognizing where you're not supposed to be, that is a really, really big deal. So if you aren't where you are supposed to be, then you are where you are not supposed to be. So, it's an extraordinary time, everybody. A lot of the themes that came up were really important this weekend, and I kind of want to touch on them just so that everyone can jump into the flow of the mother. The flow of the mother was really strong this weekend on the ashram. And even though there was so much activity on the ashram and newness and a lot of different people, we as Ma's yogis, we as Ma's kids, her children, when we gather together, it's just so strong. And so one of the themes was, and it came out of 2 weeks ago, 6 of us from Kashi and Ganga Devi Zinnis from Atlanta, and then a couple of others joined us. We went to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Toronto. And one experience that I had, not just one, but I had the opportunity to be in the presence of some profound world leaders in the areas of, one was in the area of ecofeminism and seeds and fighting for organic farming and sustainability. And that was Dr. Vandana Shiva. And another one was Mother Maya Tiwari, who is a profound spiritual leader who runs Ayurvedic schools, but she also healed herself. And she actually, in her journey, it's very interesting. She took the robes of Swami, and then several years ago she dropped the robes. I don't know a lot about the storyline, but she refers to her journey as her continued growth on the path. So the reason I'm mentioning them both is just to be in the presence of anyone. And for myself, this was a reminder. Anyone whose passion is simmering below the skin. Someone who has a fire in their belly, their passion, for 40 years or 30 years, and it's never left them, is really, really daunting. It's just extraordinary. It is awe-inspiring. And it doesn't come out as vata derangement or excitability or even a lot of words. In fact, it's usually accompanied by fewer words than necessary. It's a feeling. It's a strength. It's a presencing that is really powerful. So I posed that question to the group this weekend because we all have our own authenticity and our own integrity around how we do our path and how we live our lives. And we each have this uniqueness, and we each have that fire in the belly for something. And I believe that our Ma insisted. She didn't just model. She almost insisted. Wake up enough to serve with your whole heart and to show through your shining eyes the fire in your belly. And she modeled it every day, all day. Fearless, fierce love, ferocious love sometimes. And as Ma always said to us, I want my teachers to go even beyond me. I want them to grow beyond me. And that was daunting in itself, but Ma held that bar quite high for all of us to reach for. And she was always cheerleading us on. Go, you can. You are that. And so this was a really big theme that came up this weekend. And I'd have to say the theme of the Divine Feminine showed up yet again. We had the joy of having Sat Pavan, our Sikh friend from Oregon, who was who is a Bhangra dancer, and she co-taught. She didn't just come over and teach us how to dance. She also shared her heart and her passion, and she talked about don't dim your light, because if you dim your light, you make everyone else less. And Ma would say, don't make your guru less. Don't dim your light. And so I really believe that the time of competing with each other, comparing to each other, is over. And I truly believe that the time of the patriarchal ideal of competing and comparing is getting to be antique, old, and very much like the dinosaurs. And that is my prayer for all of us. And I believe that when I'm in the presence of anyone who is still competing, comparing, and hierarchically, ordering people and things in a top-to-bottom way, it is so old it just feels stale. And so we come back to who we are. We are the dance of the Divine Feminine, women and men. We are the lovers of the Mother, both the ecstatic ethereal goddess as well as Mother Earth, right? And as you can see when we look around, the feminine is often lost, and I would even say betrayed these days. So I know it sounds like I'm being a little bit political, but that was a theme that we encountered at the Parliament of the World's Religions. This was not namby-pamby, nicey-nicey. Every every spiritual leader presenting at the Parliament was an activist, and the activism came out of choose love, reject hate, fight for compassion, fight against brutality and cruelty. And people were on fire this year, more than likely because of the political climate the world is in right now. And so this is our time to do our battle cry. It really is. There has never been a more appropriate time to step forward as the child of the Divine Mother, as the Kali Natha Yogi, Kali Natha Yogini, demanding to take care of our Mother Earth. And so I'm going to read some words from Ma on compassion. And I just want to know, as you sit here, what's the fire in your belly? Get clear. And I'm not talking about ambition. I'm not talking about one-upmanship. I am absolutely not talking about competition or, being the star of the show. I am talking about the gas that your heart runs on in your lonely times, in your isolated times. I'm talking about that which will fuel you even if you spent a year alone in a cave. That's what I'm talking about. What keeps you going? What excites you? And so here are some words from Ma. Some of you may have heard me say them before. I think they're worth restating so that we can get very, very clear. When the feminine is lost or given up, she is searched for outside of oneself instead of inside the depth of your own being. To open up the mind to new possibilities is to become aware of the mystical mother. The feminine heart will fight for any child of every age and for all that is good and all that will heal. But sometimes in our world, the feminine is lost even in the feminine. For some women who want so much to keep up with the patriarchal idea and masculine potential, some women forget that they too are the mother. I'll tell you something that will have you understand the loss of the feminine. Oh, and then she tells a story. I'm sorry. The mother Kali can be fierce because of her kind and compassionate heart. She is in rhythm of every human being and is always there to slay the darkness, where there used to be the light of the feminine. In these times, it's as if the masculine has fallen into a deep, oblivious sleep, unaware of pain, of grief, the pain and grief that the feminine side of oneness takes care of. And that's the masculine in all of us. When you live in despair, it's the feminine showing up who shows the way of self-love. The feminine part in all of us, men and women, cries out to recognize grief and does not separate grief from injustice to even one person who walks on our Mother Earth. And so when the feminine is lost, the whole world feels or can feel like it is lost. The heart collapses, and politicians who are dry and who lack the juice of the womb, they take over. But do not lose hope. Do not be despairing. You can awaken the beauty of the feminine this very moment as the softness of her caring breasts whisper in your ears and the ears of others through you. Awaken. Find the hidden riches of compassion. So just breathe in and out, everybody. Take those words in. More and more in these times, I am actually asking you to confront, how do you hold to competing and comparing? How do you hold to remaining isolated in individualization rather than gathering in community? Where are the remnants of the ash of attachment that still hold you to suffering, rather than gathering you up in the mother's arms, in satsang, in community, in brotherhood and sisterhood? There is nothing like being with your sisters and brothers, even when we're just on the phone together. You belong here. This is your heart. This is your home. You are breathing the Mother Ashram prana right now. So breathe it in and out. Feel it. And so, this is no longer a time of coming from the solar plexus alone. This is not a time where we take our fists and we beat each other. It has to be done completely differently. It has to be the heart. It has to be love. Yeah. Because the other way has not worked at all. And so, Kali Natha Yogis, I want to remind you, you have Mother Earth at the tip of your sacred bone. Keep reaching for her. Keep doing your sacred bone practices. You are, and so this is a quote from Ma that I have relayed for years and years and years, and yet I think it's more applicable now than ever. The Kali Natha Yogi has the great warrior strength with the softest heart center. How do we emulate that? How do we become that? You are that. I am the Kali Natha Yogi with the greatest warrior strength. But I'm not going to tell you to go F yourself, even though I will in jest. But I'm not going to tell you I will not curse at you needlessly or spew hate at you as my retort. I'm going to love you while describing to you how unacceptable your behaviors, your prejudices, your racism, your heteronormative baloney is just unacceptable. It is no longer acceptable. And there's no discussion. And that was our Ma. It is unacceptable and there's no discussion. And so be the warrior with a soft heart. And what do you have more inside of you right now? Are you more the warrior and you need to cultivate the heart? Or are you more in the heart and need to cultivate the warrior? It has to be balanced. Please reach into our Mother Earth. This is our uniqueness. We are the yogis who know how to reach into the 10th chakra with our sacred bone techniques. We know how to plunge into our Mother Earth and call on her Shakti. Keep cultivating, because when you feel discouraged, she is there and she will lift you up. And I'm not saying pretty words. When I asked Ma about Kali Natha Yoga, and I literally asked her face to face, how do we take this out to the world? She said it's going to rise up from the earth, and that was her answer. And it is compassion, and not namby-pamby compassion. It's not idiot compassion, where you give your last dollar to someone and then you go hungry or you go without shelter. But actual compassion like that from Mother Kali, that's going to do it. So let's come into the heart. We're going to cultivate this with a practice that has everything to do with the profound mother and the fire of Agni that we know how to stoke. So come to a quiet place. This is called the light of compassion practice. Come into your heart center, everybody, and begin to breathe into that soft center that's almost a little tender, maybe a little sore, a little sensitive, a little ow. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Begin to deepen your breath in the center of the chest. Deeper breath in, longer breath out. Deeper breath in, longer breath out. We're going to stay here for a little bit. In the center of the chest, deeper breath in, long breath out. breathing in deeply and out. Keep it going. Breathe in and out. You may begin to feel a warmth. This is Lord Agni's fire of compassion. Breathe deeply into the chest and out. Deep breath in, almost feeling the flames in the heart and out. Just 4 more breaths. Breathe in and out. 3 more breaths. Breathe in and out. Feeling Lord Agni's sacred fire, breathing in and out. And just 1 more, breathing in. And after you breathe out, visualize any form of the mother. You can specifically visualize Mother Tara if it resonates for you, but any form of the mother. As you breathe in, feel the mother's tears falling into the flames that we have cultivated in the heart, the flames of Agni in the heart. Feel the mother's plump tears falling into the flames of the heart. Listen intently to the sound of her tears touching the fire. There is a sizzling sound in your heart. When you breathe out specifically, listen intently to the sound of her tears hitting the flames. Listen to the sizzling sound it makes in your heart. Just a couple more, breathing in and out. Hear the sizzling sound. And now just sit quietly. Invite compassion to come toward you very gently, but absolutely completely. Sit quietly, feeling compassion come to you gently and completely. This breath can bring you out of the shadow of darkness, of indifference. Or let's call it even just out of the shadows of the darkness of feeling numb and overwhelmed by the world. Believe it or not, that can create a layer of indifference because we feel like we need to protect. So this breath brings you back to the sweetness, the softness of compassion, the gentleness. And any time that you do this breath, pay attention to how you feel when you can feel the mother's tears. When you focus here, you're entering into an exciting journey toward freedom, Ma explains. And sometimes even the first layer of indifference is born from our own pain, our fear of rejection. And so we rely on the mother. Kali Natha Yogis, I am telling you, and I'm not holding back anymore, the world needs you desperately. And I don't mean that you got to get to the White House and start banging down the door. I don't mean that you have to do anything dramatic. I mean that if you don't shine your light as bright as you can, you will not ignite the light of the person next to you. When we make ourselves small, we make our guru small. When we dim our light out of fear or pain or just overwhelm, we will not ignite the light of another. But just like Sat Pavan danced her Bhangra dance with joy and freedom and exhilaration, and eventually it just looked like ecstasy, our own hearts flew open. It's a contact high. I need to be with you guys. We need to be together and breathe the Mother Ashram's prana together so that we can renew and replenish. Let's take a breath in, everybody, and do an Om together. Om. Our next gathering is December 11th. Please write it down. December 11th. Please take this Shakti and nourish yourself, feed your heart, ignite your flame. Don't forget your sacred bone practices. Don't forget your Mother Earth Shakti to rely upon. I love you guys very, very much. Namaste, everybody.